What is this garbage? No way. Ooh, this guy thinks he's Captain Knots. Thinks he's Captain Tying Knots. When everyone needs some knots tied, they go to him.
Rock and roll is very simple. Just 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is rock and roll. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Välkommen till livestreamen.
Yo, how are you, man? Hello, everyone. I appreciate that. Happy Tuesday. We're going to be going over a bunch of improv stuff today based on a bunch of questions and stuff that I was getting from you guys. I think it'll help with all the songwriting stuff, too, that we've been talking about. But, yeah, that song is kind of cool. I was playing around with... it's a pretty simple chord progression, but kind of weird chords for sure, but it's basically just so D minor, F, B flat. But yeah, the stuff that, the way it's arpeggiated, I think helps make it a little catchy. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Be sure to check out the sponsors. And today, like I said, I've been getting some questions about, not specifically only about improvising, but I've been getting a bunch of questions about like choosing notes and making a melody or maybe writing some like... one person in particular has lyrics but no music for it. So kind of filling in some of those gaps. And obviously, those who know me, we can go crazy with theory. But the goal today is just to show like the starting point. And so, you know, you can take it to whichever direction you end up wanting to. What we are going to do is I'm just going to lay out a real simple, very open sounding drum beat. Let's see. So let's get this. Something a little bit more interesting than just straight, but we're going to be focusing on the notes. We've been talking a bit about doing some of the more on the note choice kind of side of things, or I'm sorry, more on the rhythm side. This I just want to kind of show how you can, with different ways you can think about the same thing, and yeah, cool. I mean, ask away as we go. But what I wanted to show real quick, a lot of times people kind of get one sound stuck in their head. Not necessarily stuck in their head, but they get one option in their brain as far as what they think they can do when there's plenty of options when you have a note, right? So, all right, so what we're going to have here is, let's just say, do you want to do D? Yeah, let's just do D. Okay. So if we have, really all we're doing is kind of figuring out where, if there is anything that like is a conflict of interest, I guess, or like where the notes don't necessarily match. So when you have, most of the time when we're playing, we're in a key, right? And we're going to be using the same 7 notes over and over again in different ways, you know, to make the chords, make the scales and all that kind of stuff. But you can play around with that, and especially with a lot of the stuff like I know that you guys like, more progressive styles of music. There's definitely a lot of options in terms of the way you're thinking of it. So what we have here, I'll make it slower. So we got that. Just the root note right now. So if you have, say, the bass cover the fifth or piano, etc. Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so as far as there's kind of like the traditional classical music theory mindset, but I think that's kind of it's helpful, but it's not really what you would be going for. I know. So it is a team effort, and so when you have your like I used to get really intimidated by like film scores and stuff because I felt like there was just too much shit going on, but really all they're doing is playing the same kind of chord progressions, just splitting up the notes across different instruments. So yeah, so a lot of times, especially if you want something to sound really big and heavy and stuff, you're probably hitting the root as the bass note, but the bass could hit anything. It could hit the first, it could hit the third, it could hit the fifth, and then yeah, there were for example, in my jazz band in college, there were plenty of times when I was like, say we had a C chord, but I wasn't even playing a C note because the bass player was hitting it. So I didn't have to do anything then. Okay. So you can absolutely divide it up, and the two just to bring this up real quick. What happens a lot in rock, metal, and all that kind of stuff is the chords are definitely going to be simplified, especially when you have more like distortion on, right? And so, like we all know about power chords, and a power chord is just the first and fifth. And then we have what some people refer to as like dyads, and that's just the first and third. So that's like. And if we had like, here, let me do this. Like if we have like a. Like those are the dyads, first and third only. And then if we did first and fifth. But the one thing I need to definitely bring up, in order to have the complete chord, you need the first, third, and fifth. But from a creative perspective, you don't. Okay, so there's a lot of rules that say you need it, but it's not like we break rules all the time in the music that we like. So feel free to only play the first, if you want, or only the third, or whatever. Okay. Okay. So what we have here, if we're thinking about like the scale, so I just put a D5. Okay. So this is a power chord starting on a D. So it's just a D and an A note. Well, here, let's start even more simple. Let's say there is no A. Okay, it's just a whole bunch of D's. I could solo over this using any mode that I want because there's no, as long as it contains a D in it. Okay, so when this D is playing. Starting with major. Right? If I wanted to make that that's kind of happy, but maybe a little bit more, I don't know, like dreamy sounding, I could use Lydian. So lame. All right, so if we have... So anyway, if we have... Let me just get this recorded. Cool. So when we have... I'm just going to record just the first and fifth, just to kind of flesh it out a little bit more. So it's not just that... you know, just that keyboard. But just the D and A. Okay, so now that we've added the A in there, the thing that we have to think about is, like I said, we can't have anything that's like gonna clash or anything that's gonna compete with each other. So what I mean by that is when we have, like, let's say we were in, you know what, and let's make this actually even easier. We're gonna be in the key of A minor instead, just so we have no sharps or flats. Okay. So if we have, you know, just if we were playing like the first and fifth of each of the notes, there's only one diminished chord in a natural key, which would be on the 2 chord in minor. So the reason I'm bringing that up is if you were playing the power chord, you could literally start it on every single spot. Like you can start an A, but then the B, it's going to be that tritone. Okay, so when let me think. Do we want? Okay, so if we had just the D note being played, like I was saying, we could definitely use any mode that we want. The one thing we can't do right now is, well, since we changed it to all the A's, there's only A's here, so I could literally use anything. And each mode, just to, if you're not familiar with them, we should go over these real quickly. Each mode has a different feel, and everything kind of fits into families. So when you have a major family, it's kind of the happy stuff. Minor family, kind of the sad stuff. And then dominant family is what's used to refer to like the really tense stuff. Okay, so if we were, okay, so we just did this. So let's say I'm going to go through let's say we wanted major first. Kind of predictable, nothing wrong with it, right? But it's definitely not like the most interesting, I guess you could say. We could do Dorian. And, you know, to make this even maybe make a little bit more sense, let's take it family by family. So let's stick with the major family real quick. So I could do, since there's only an A note in the background, I could do A major, I could do A Lydian, or A Mixolydian, or, you know, major pentatonic or something too. But here's... right there, yeah, like I said, it's kind of I'll say predictable for lack of a better term for it right now. So if we were to do Mixolydian, let's say, which is also in the major family, but it's going to have a little bit different quality to it because it has a different seventh note. Let's get it more of like that kind of pentatonic sort of vibe right there. And Lydian, I think, is the coolest of the major family. Very Steve Vai, dreamy sounding. So like, reminds me a bit too of like Liquid Tension Experiment kind of stuff. They use a lot of Lydian on at least the second one. Some of the other first two. Anyway, so if we were to go to the minor family, which is definitely more up my alley, we could have minor, Dorian, or Phrygian. And so Phrygian, like minor is just like the sad sound. that we're kind of used to, I guess. We'll for simplicity's sake. Phrygian is a lot darker. So like for example, this is in the same key, but if I were to play like, this is in the key of C major, but focusing on the Phrygian sound. Sort of thing. So yeah, so if we're soloing over this, we could use the minor. I could do Dorian. If I want that real dark sound, like I said, we could use a Phrygian instead. And of course, you could use, like, we're just sticking with the natural stuff now, but you could use more exotic scales like harmonic minors and stuff where you have. But anyway, so right now we only had the A notes, so it didn't really matter, right? But what we're gonna do, we're gonna make this more, more, I guess, realistic, right? Where we actually have a chord, probably not just a note. So let's stick with the minor family. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna add an E note, and let's put a C. So now it's all in a minor family. And I'm gonna get this. And again, we're focusing in on just one chord for right now, to get the illustration out, and then obviously then, like in most songs, you're gonna be changing. But started playing too colorful of a chord. Let's do this again. Like right there, that voicing that I'm using, I'm not hitting a fifth at all. Because the fifth is already in the keyboard part in the background. I don't need to worry about it. I'm just hitting A, another A, and a C. That's it, just two notes. So when we have this going, so now as far as soloing goes, I couldn't do anything that would have notes that would go against that, right? So if I had something like the notes are A, C, and E, if something had a C sharp or whatever, it's not going to work. But what I can do now is... a few different options there. But yeah, with this one, depending on the mood you want, because there's only that one chord being played. Yeah, it does sound good. It's thanks. You can completely change the mood just by those few notes, right? And so as we're doing this, I gotta tune this thing up again. Let's say we were to take. Well, I'll let you guys maybe 1, 2, 3 help me out, or Damon or whoever. Let's do. We have that A minor chord being played. We could do. Let's see which one. Oh, thanks. What do you think would be cool? We could do Dorian. So it's like minor would be more of like just the kind of traditional sad sound. The Dorian's a little bit more on the jazzy side. Focuses on the second chord, which is very common in jazz, 2-5-1 kind of thing. And then Phrygian is dark. So if you guys have a preference, let me know. But I'm just gonna play around with it for a second. There. Hey, it works well for that. So let's do it. Okay, so, and that's the thing, you can switch, right? So if this is just playing in the background, we could easily, let's say we want take control of what you want, you know? So if we had, let's say, so if we're going to do Dorian, and then and you said in minor. So let's do this. Let's say we want, let's do a very, kind of John Petrucci style way, a very John Petrucci-esque approach. So he does a lot of variations, and especially bringing in like bluesy licks, right? So if we were playing in Dorian, it's a little bit different. Then we can hit that. Change the notes up a bit, right? So if we have that. Almost like could be approached as like dramatic. Pretty cool. So let's make this a little bit more interesting. And thanks. So let's make this a little bit more interesting. And we're going to do two different chords, and I'm going to show two different ways we could think about this. Okay. So we're going to have, let's see how tricky do we want to make this. Not too tricky, right? Let's do A minor and E minor. Okay. So we're going to do just those two. Okay. That could be, like I said, we can think about it in different ways as long as nothing's like ends up clashing. Have diminished. Yeah, that's definitely. That'll be even easier here with more chords, I think. So when we have these switches like this, E minor, G, let's bump this. Okay. This could be in the key of A minor or in the key of E minor, depending on what you want. If we were to look, just to kind of skim over this real quick, so we don't need to go too crazy with this, but if you were to look at the notes of our chords, we don't have an F note at all. We only have A, C, E, and the note E, G, B. So because of that, we could use either key. So I could play, if you don't know what you can do at the beginning, one thing you can do is just literally write down what notes you're playing and make that into a scale. You can come up with all kinds of weird stuff that way. You might have like a... something where it's a lot more exotic sounding or whatever. But anyway, let's solo, first of all, do it in A minor, which would be the more... So yeah, those are my favorite, the susses. Let's do it. So we played... I forgot it changed. So here... Now that note sounds so wrong at first. So right, yeah, I can see the only note I'm changing is the F or the F sharp. And the reason I'm allowed to change that is there's no F in any of what we've played so far. So we had, let's see, we do A minor. Minor nines. I'm liking that. You know what this? Thanks, Jen. You know what soundtrack does this remind you of potentially? I'm going to extend this chord progression, but I'm curious if you heard it too. I totally. As soon as I hit the chords in that way with the piano, I was like, oh, I just ripped that off. What are we doing? Jen is stuck with me. All right, we're going to go to D. Okay. So this is I'm not going to say the name of the movie quite yet. But we'll hear it in a second. So what we're doing here is we are going to I'm going to make this more open. We're going from A to A minor to E minor to a G, and then we're going to go to a D chord. So here's, you know how we were talking about that F and the F sharp a bit. This is where it's going to be like actually matter. Okay, so for the first three chords we have here, A minor, we've got A, C, E. For the next one, we've got E, G, and B. Then we've got G, B, and D. So no Fs yet, right? Because of the way we're used to hearing things in major and minor, just kind of conditioned to hear that. So what happens is when you start to play your chord progression, we kind of naturally try and fill in the blanks of things. And we try and we're kind of conditioned to hear things in a certain way, you know, just like. Okay, so here. So for example, this progression. Holy shit. We would expect this because we were starting on an A minor. You would almost expect it just to be a minor key. But then this last one, that's not what we want. Let's say we chose the F sharp. So we're gonna have, here, let's get this. Let me just get the piano and then I'll record it. But instead of we're expecting kind of to hear the D minor, but instead we get a D major. So we're kind of a little bit of a curve. Not crazy, but a little bit. Oh, Jesus. Counting would be nice. Jen, any idea on the soundtrack? Just because he brought up the ninths, I'm going to use them. So right here, it's just the first and third for those. But I could have all kinds of crazy shit in here. We could add those. So let me think about this. If we're ending on the D, D major, is it a dominance? And I'd probably change up the versions of what I'm playing, inversions and versions, but like. Shit. Don't hit that. Don't hit that. But see, like right here, we could not solo over this anymore in the key of A minor because that F sharp is there. So no matter how you divide, like whether you're doing chord progressions like this or more metal, like individual note riffs or whatever, it doesn't really matter. But when you're thinking about the chords and how things, you don't want things to clash, right? So it's why it's important. That's actually one of my biggest pet peeves with music written online is that people don't properly label their chords. And it's not really that big of a deal most of the time because, you know, if they write something like 2, it's like C2, that's a really common one. I know what they mean, but having a third in your chord or not makes a huge difference. And you could end up playing something awful, you know, so. Let's see if I were to do that F here. Not gonna work. Could be passing. Like, I mean, any layer that we want to add in this, whether it's a lead or here, let's just add some more layers. So we just have just 4 chords here. If we were to add, like, say, an overdriven guitar, let's see, what do we want? Could do kind of like maybe power chords. What are the types of layers? Is that what you're asking? Or I'm trying to remember what I just said. Yeah, so the layers I'm talking about, just the different guitar parts, different instruments, right? So you've got all the different drums, you've got the bass, you've got the synth. I've got 2 synths, like one that's a piano. Could be anything. So for like all of these, like just think of each track kind of as a layer. It's like things stacked on top of each other. In the in songwriting, the 7 elements of music, it's called texture. It's how you're adding things in. So like right here, if I were to play these two together, they're very similar texturally because like basically the same rhythm, right? So if we were to take something like this and do, let's make it different. A different rhythm in this texture. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have that. Turn you. It makes it more interesting, right? The more you add interest, right? You're just making it more varied. We could add another layer of like heavy guitars, right? So we could have you can stack a bunch, stack away. But as you're doing that, right, it is a team effort. And I think I sucked at doing that for a long time. You know, like you can make one. Let's just talk about layers and textures real quick. We're not gonna do anything different than that one little drum beat that we did. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this. So, all right. Alright, so if we had like so if we had I made this not cool enough yet. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm literally just taking the idea of 3 notes: C, G sharp, and G. All right, I guess we wouldn't call it that. A flat and G. So let me just get. Let's see. What do we want? Sounds like Sweet Dreams almost. right, so there's one. Like the individual layers, the more you have, the less crazy it has to be. Really. So, and so we don't want everything doing the same thing rhythmically. You don't want everything doing the same notes and everything like that. So like in this case, we've got the... have things layer in. Let's see what we want. Let's do some little simple thing like that. It could be cool. Not exactly hard. This was not totally a blank session. There were some things like this little chunk right here was one we song wrote in the last, based on Damon's idea. I mean, I think it's a great idea just to get the ideas out like we've been talking about. So for me, today we've done, oops. I've a few different ideas. Play with this. Make very simple things interesting. And like right here, it's all just divided up. Power chords and the heavy guitars, you know, however you see fit. do. Let's see. If anyone has something that they want to see done, feel free to shout it out. I'm trying to address all of the the people who are asking about the note choice and stuff like that. Here's actually something that's kind of important. The note that you decide to end your, like talking about melodies, the note you end on makes a big difference. And I think for 95% of people, they have a harder time ending their ideas than they do starting them. So when you have, I'm just going to repeat the one chord again. So this is just an A minor chord. The notes are A, C, and E. If I end on the A, which is the root note, it's going to sound the most complete. The third sounds the most dramatic, and the fifth is kind of in between. So if I had, let's do this. So here's my root. So if I, nice and complete, right? If I end on the E note, a little bit. And then the third would be the more dramatic one. So, as you're going through this, you can have really minimal phrases, but focus in on hitting notes with those chords, and it makes a huge difference. So here, let's do a phrase with... I don't even know if that's actually the melody from the movie, but it sounds very similar to it, right? This would be actually Guthrie Govan toured with Hans Zimmer on for the. I wish I would have seen those. That would have been awesome. It's a fun progression. But if we were let's look at some of the stuff from before. What was this? Okay, so yeah, let's use the chord progression just real quick before we gotta get going. The chord progression that we used on the last stream, which is an E minor. I forget who came up with this chord progression, but one of you guys came up with it. It was the E minor, C, and D. So now, if we were to take, let's see. So if we have. So let's just break this down to kind of show the separation of those. The bass is just hitting the root notes there. We do have a keyboard that is hitting this, like, and piano. That's outlining a ninth again, because I like those. Right? This is the layering thing that I was talking about. I think it makes it sound so interesting when you have it. So you've got the guitar and a piano playing similar things. So here. Another guitar. Bass. Synth in the background. That's a tough spot with hitting the wrong note. Yeah. It is kind of film score light, right? Yeah, I get it. I can totally picture that. So it's interesting. People picture can sometimes totally picture completely different things. But in this case, I think especially because of what we've been talking about with this when I was bringing up those film composers, it tends to be they tend to develop a theme well. They don't tend to just be like, I've said this before with one issue with metal, is like it can be all over the place. Too many good ideas, but too many of them, right? Kind of like a musical ADD. So I think it's I have a lot of feeling. There you go. But nice. Well, I appreciate you guys that stopped by today. We are going, I don't know what we're going to be doing on Thursday, but we're going to be doing a more normal one, getting back in the groove of everything. But I want to continue working with this a bit more with you guys. Some of the questions about the notes, I think I didn't really get to one of them, I know. But we will get to it. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. And we will see you soon. Check out the sponsors. Zack 10 for 10% off of the Limitless Cables. Check out Swiss Picks. We'll see you soon.